Let's talk about Bootgate because it's actually a really fun story and we need it. We need this after the dark news coverage of the past few weeks. Bootgate involves Ron DeSantis. And when I first saw it, I'm like, this is so petty. This is so stupid. I'm completely into it now. Okay. So here's what happened. Originally, there was a TikTok video that kicked off the questioning about whether DeSantis is artificially inflating his height with these boots. Look at this. So they are an odd looking boot, like the front of them kind of turns up. And I don't know why the front of them turns up, but the theory is because there are lifts secretly inside of them. So then Patrick Bet-David gets DeSantis. Look, see the way they all turned up at the end. Anyway, Patrick Bet-David has DeSantis on his show last week and had the following exchange.
I'm sure your marketing team points out how they're trying to troll you in the marketplace. Play this clip. This on TikTok went viral. It doesn't have 1 million views. It doesn't have, 10 million views. This thing's got 1.2 million likes. And some people are wondering,
what are they? I don't even I haven't seen that.
They've not shown this to you. Okay, no. What they're trying to say with this is that in your boots, you have heels.
No.
That's what they're trying to say.
Those are just standard off the rack Lucchese.
How tall are you? How tall are you, Governor? How tall?
5'11".
5'11". Okay. Why don't you wear tennis shoes and dress shoes?
I do wear tennis shoes when I work out. Yeah, 100%.
You do?
Yep.
Okay. I got a gift for you. I'd love for you to wear. Okay. I shop at Ferragamo. Okay.
Oh my God.
I don't accept gifts. I can't accept it.
I totally get it.
I'm sorry.
So Patrick Bet-David tried to get him to put on the boots and obviously was going to see how tall he really is. And he said no. It gets so awkward, cringy, but kind of interesting too. Trump puts out a statement on it through his spokesperson, referring to, and I'll get to this, a scathing new article from Politico about Ron DeSanctimonious's high-heeled shoes. He goes on to say, in another moment of insanity, because he definitely believes that these are lifts inside the boots, Ron offered up the laughable claim that he is 5'11". Instead of telling the truth and just being comfortable in his own skin, he resorts to borderline psychotic behavior by lying to the American people. Is this what the country wants in a president? With a close-up of Ron DeSantis's shoes here. Okay, so here is my own. Here, Politico. We got to get to this before I show you my own personal evidence, members of the jury. Politico on Tuesday publishes an in-depth piece on Bootgate. Okay, first look at this video. This is Debbie Murphy's concerned by this video. It's sort of odd, the way the walk. I can see why people think maybe there are lifts inside these boots. Politico gets 3 expert shoemakers to analyze pictures of DeSantis and his boots, walking, sitting, standing, what have you. They get, I guess, a guest columnist to actually write the piece who's a menswear writer. He's written for the Washington Post, Financial Times, and so on. So they put it in the hands of an expert who then interviews 3 expert shoemakers. And they all have concluded he is wearing lifts. There is no doubt. 3 things stick out to me, said one of them. Graham Ebner, the Austin-based cowboy bootmaker. The instep, that's where you normally would tie your sneakers, like where the ties of a sneaker normally are. The instep, the toe spring, and where the ball of his foot is sitting in the boots. In almost every photo of DeSantis, you see an unusually high instep that angles nearly 60 degrees. They've estimated the degrees, my friends. Angled nearly 60 degrees, pushing the leather outward and making it unusually taut. Unusually taut, I say. Another guy says, he's basically standing on his tippy toes. You can see it. His shins look unusually long for his proportions, and estimated that the lifts inside of his shoes, that's in addition to the heel you can see, are about 1.5 inches. DeSantis denies it, says the governor does not pad his boots, but if he ever needed anything to line like trash can, he'll use that Politico article. So, all right, thoughts on Bootgate. It's so fun. I don't know. Do you guys wear boots?
Instep. You hate a taut instep. That's as rough as it gets.
taut's normally kind of hot. Who doesn't want to be taut? But I guess it's bad if it's in your instep. I don't know. They say tall people are more likely to win elections. So Tom, Bevan, it could matter.
I guess it could. I mean, listen, I was talking to Josh during the break. I'm 5'9", so I'm all for lifts. I mean, I think Ron DeSantis should just lean into it and go for like those, Gene Simmons, Kiss, like platform shoes, just the bigger the better, whatever. That's what I'd do if I was in his circumstance. But there is a thing about not wanting to seem small on stage, especially when you're standing next to a guy like Donald Trump, who's 6'2", and some of the other candidates. So maybe he's doing it, maybe he's not. I'm not sure it's affecting his campaign, but it certainly is the story of the moment.
Holmes, I'm going to give you another pice of evidence to consider. Okay, I went and I interviewed Governor DeSantis. Yeah, all right. So there's another piece of evidence for the jury. I interviewed DeSantis, and we sat together. I don't know if we have the picture of the two of us sitting together. And I definitely was wearing high heels. Well, this is the two of us standing. All right, just hold this here. Hold this picture. Okay. So I had probably 2.5-inch heels on. And he had boots on, like those, he had those very boots that we've been showing, those black boots. And they were, I'd say, at least a 2-inch heel. So that kind of strikes us as even. So we should actually right here be looking our actual height difference, because we both had probably the same amount of lift in our heel. This is excluding the possibility that he had an additional lift inside. Now, I am 5'6" without my heels, and he says he's 5'11". So there's about a 5. Does that look like a 5-inch difference to you? To me, I can buy it.
You have such
I can buy that that's
posture.
a 5-inch. Yeah, that could be a 5-inch difference between us. But what the allegation is that is in fact, if he didn't have the secret lift inside the boot, there would only be about a 3-inch difference between us, and he would be a lot lower in this picture. Members of the jury, Holmes, I don't know what to say.
Just from a substantive standpoint, campaigns are totally brutal, and having run a lot of
so
them,
mean.
when you're like real sort of in the soup, it's not just about like debating the issues and trying to get to right or left of something or center the electorate. Sometimes you just have this toolbox full of stuff that you want to throw out there and try to get people talking about, because it's just sort of one, it makes somebody look bad, but two, it also just throws your opponent off entirely. And Trump has been really, really good at doing this, right? Their campaign, remember the pudding fingers thing, and now this thing. And one of the reasons I've been sort of bearish on where DeSantis's campaign is with an awful lot of this stuff is that they have some sensitivity to doing that back, certainly to Donald Trump. And when you have one side that is willing to deploy every tactic in the book and get the national conversation about whether he's wearing lifts, and you're not willing to say, like, I'm going to take my lift and shove it up your fat ass, like it's a one-sided discussion. Like, you can never get out of it. And you're like, well, another thing about the border wall. Well, that's not where the people, like, you got to be entertaining too. And I think that he's consistently, and it's not trying to be a pun, but he's had him on his heels.
Right. I don't know. I think if I were a guy in his position and I did not have lifts inside the boot, I might actually take off the boot and show it to Patrick Bet David. I might, go ahead, take a look at my boot. I know what you're doing. You're ridiculous. Here, look inside the boot right now. I mean, it's a little beneath the dignity, but it would have put it to rest once and for all. Or another route could be like what Tom just did. I do wear them. I've always been kind of sensitive about the fact that I'm not a little taller. You caught me in my insecurity. Maybe other guys out there can relate. I don't know. But I do love these boots, and you can get them from this manufacturer, and they'll give you an extra 2 inches. And unless you run for president, no one will ever be the wiser.
Or
that
you
could have been a moment.
Come out on the next debate stage on stilts or something. I mean, just make the whole thing a clown show out of it. I'm sure people would love that.
Some people take CBD for better sleep or less stress and more calm. Some take it for pain relief, better energy, or better focus and concentration. Today, I want to tell you about CB Distillery and their over 2 million satisfied customers. According to a poll of their customers, 90% reported that they sleep better with CBD. 81% said CBD helps with stress, and 80% said CBD helps with aches and pains after physical activity. If you struggle to get a good night's sleep, if you're dealing with too much stress and could use a little calm in your life, If you suffer from pain and discomfort, especially after physical exercise, you could give CBD a try from cbdistillery.com. Use my 20% discount by visiting cbdistillery.com and entering my initials MK to get that discount. No prescription is required. cbdistillery.com, promo code MK for 20% off. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.